going to do a thank you card. First thing I want to do is get myself my box for my template. Now this is going to be essentially my card. So all I do is I go to Georgian Basic Shapes and I find, I mean you can find boxes and these basic shapes all over the place. This is just where I get mine, but loads of cartridges do them. You don't have to have George, so any cartridge you've got that does a basic square or oblong or whatever, just pop one of those in your queue at the top there and put it on your mat. Now then I want to make this into the size of the card that I am going to do, which I think I am going to do an A5 card, which is approximately 6 by 8.5 inches. This card, this square, well, oblong, which is my card. I wanted to put like a sewing machine on the front, and then I'm going to use my Xyron because I didn't have a stamp or anything to match, so I'm going to use my Xyron Design Runner to create a little sentiment that says thank you sew, as in S-E-W, much. So then there'll be the sewing machine, etc. So I thought that was just a little bit of something fun. Your little search button there is the little Cricut head with his little magnifying glass. So then you go into your keyword here. Oh, yes. Is that the one I wanted? Yes. And then I'm going to go down. This is the other way you could do it. Rather than typing in a word, if you're not sure how Cricut might have identified it, you can go down that keyword, look under S for sewing machine in my case, click on that, and you can see everything that they've got and labelled. So I'm just going to go down. I'm looking for, there we go, we're getting close. Sewing machine, there we go, I thought I saw it. So I'm going to click on that and then we'll see what comes up. Okay, so there's actually quite a lot. So let's see, we've got Country Life, which now if you look, if I move down, where it's one you don't own, it's in red, and any ones that you do own are in the black. So Everyday Pop-Up Cards has quite a few. Now what you can also do is, if you find one you like, you can have a look at it by holding down the silver button at the side, the top one, which you can't really see because it's a bit dark. It's the top silver button, hold it down and then touch with your stylus on the one you want to look at. When you finish, just click back the silver button again and it will go. If you click with your stylus on the keypad on the screen, I believe it takes you to the image because it thinks you want it. So just click on the silver button and you'll go back. You're going to go to the one at Heritage. So what you do is you click on it, and then what it does is it brings it up and highlights it on the cartridge, which is really helpful because if you look on this one, it's actually, what it's done is it's brought up the shift key. So if you'd have just gone in, you might not have seen it. All you need to do to go to it is just click on that and it opens up that cartridge for you. So, and then also by clicking on it, I've put it in my weight box. The only layer it has is a shadow layer, so I'm going to pop that one on as well. It wasn't a sewing machine, and look at these shoes, sorry, was this gorgeous little mannequin, and I really quite like that, and I don't know if I can incorporate that at all, so I'm going to pop that in my queue, and I'm going to do shift lock, and that gives me, I'll show you the plain layer to go behind. Okay guys, in my searching I put in thank you so much, just spelt normally, and one came up but it was not one that I had. So then I just put in thank you, and when I did that it popped up with some other options, and one of the options was actually thank you so much spelt S-E-W, and it's all in Everyday Pop-Up Cards, which I have. So I'll show you, look. Okay, so that's what they look like. So they are to go over the top to make like a second colour, so that'll be really cool. So we're going to put that in. I hope I just picked the right one. Yeah. What I've done is, you can see my shadow box there, just pop that in there, put my sewing machine, which is bigger so it needs to be in the foreground. If you put this level with this bottom of this would look disproportionate. Basically all I've done now is I've left the images as I wanted them and nothing around the edges. Okay, so then we're going to go to the actual page here, and I'm going to hide my template layer because I don't need that and it's just causing confusion. And I'm going to hide the first template layer as well, so that basically all I'm left with is the images. So then I just need to start positioning these depending on my papers, which I will do, and we'll put them on the paper on the mat and then we'll cut it all out. I've just made a quick amendment to the layout on here, only very slightly. As you can see, I've changed the changed and turned, that was meant to be, the little mannequin around to the side so that it would fit in an extra thank you so much. And the reason that I've done that is that whilst looking for some paper for making this card, I came across this, but at the same time I came across this gorgeous piece of paper that had this on the side. It was a 12 by 12 and it had this kind of up in one corner and then more of the writing, etc. But it was really, really pretty. So, and I thought it was absolutely perfect. And this has come from, I took this off the top so I'd remember, I think it's My Mind's Eye, Lost and Found. Yeah, My Mind's Eye, Lost and Found. And I've also got the stamp set, so I thought that what I'd do is use this stamp and this stamp on the inside. So what I wanted to do was make two cards using the same kind of sentiment. So on this one all I'm going to do is put thank you so much, so that's why I wanted the second one. So what I've done here, all I've done is I've taken two squares of card which I've scalloped, and it's made it an 8 by 8, and then I've taken the two colours, the brown and the pink. So I've taken a pink piece and a brown piece, and all I've done on the pink piece is I've scored along about an inch down, and then I've used double-sided tape and I've stuck it together, which will make a card that stands up. Sorry guys, it's a bit difficult, like so. So then, and then I've taken this piece of card here, paper that I had from My Mind's Eye. I've cut out the section that I wanted, and I think it worked out about 7.5, 7.75, something like that. I just cut it as tight as I could, and then I just rounded the corners using my corner chomper. And then on the inside, as I said, I'm going to stamp those two images using the stamps from the same set. So what I've done is I've laid out on my mat, on my Cricut mat, the pink and brown card, another piece of pink and brown card to cut out the thank you so much to go on here. So that's that one. But then for the actual main card, where I'm actually cutting out the dummy and the sewing machine, I thought I would use this lovely stack from Die Cuts with a View linen closet. It's got some really, really nice colours and papers in here. So, but what I found, which I'll come to in a minute, I'm sure, look at it, I'm using this one, which is really pretty, and I don't know where it's gone. I'll come to it, I'm sure. I think I'm using that one as well, which is another plain, sort of lovely plain aqua colour. And then we've got this piece, which obviously is absolutely perfect with all the patchwork. Okay, so what I've got is this card, which I've cut up in several pieces. So let me just show you. Now this one is 8 inches by 6, which I then scored at about an inch, so that makes it, sorry, it was 9 inches, I'm sorry, and it makes it an 8 by 6 card. So it's a 9 by 6 scored at 1 inch, folded to make it 8 by 6. So then I've cut out, that's out of my patchwork piece. Then out of my florally piece, I've cut just an 8 by 6 piece of card. And then this I'm going to stick to here, like so, so that when it opens, it's got a nice pretty inside, because I think it's really nice to have the inside pretty. So that's what we're going to do first. We're going to get my ATG. Just make sure, because this is your sort of actual card, just make sure it's really well stuck, because you don't want it to come loose, because obviously it's quite important. Make sure any sort of loose bits of glue are gone. So the way I'm going to do it is I'm going to place it like that, so that I can see that my card is lined up properly, and then fold this piece over. Whoops. Like so. And actually that gives it quite a nice look on the back as well, because this is slightly creamy, so it kind of blends in quite well. So there we've got our card, but obviously that's going to be quite difficult to write on. So what I've got here is a piece of the plain aqua, and that is 5 by 7. And what I did on that is I took a little punch. This is an Anna Griffin ribbon punch, and I just worked out the centre. I marked the centre, and then I turned this over, placed that in so that it was on the, so you could see that, you can't now, but you could see the little pencil line through the middle of the centre hole. What I'm going to do then is I'm going to thread some ribbon through here. So I'm not going to do anything kind of fancy with the ribbon. Sorry guys, we're just going to poke it through. I'm not going to do a bow or anything, I'm literally just going to thread it. And the only thing is just to try and make sure that it lays reasonably kind of flat. Not flat, but it's not twisted. So you'll get like a bump, because you want that. That's to give it the texture, but you don't want it twisted. So then we'll just poke that end through as well. Okay, so I've just got out my crocodile. Now you could have done this in the first place if you wanted to, if you think you've got quite a good eye. The other thing to do, you could do if you wanted to, is actually put eyelets through, so that would give it some extra look as well, which is quite nice. Okay, just trying to check that it's in the right sort of position. It only has to be roughly right. 2, sorry guys, 3. Okay, so it's not perfectly straight, but I think with the ribbon it will be fine. Okay, and that, what we'll do then is we'll have that gap at the top, so I think that will look quite cute as well. There we go. So now we just cut the excess off. And stick down with just a little bit of regular Scotch tape, nothing fancy. Just to hold it in place, although I suspect when you stick it down, do that like that. When you stick it down with your glue to stick it down on the page, it'll probably be fine anyway. So bring this card back in. I am actually going to stick this down in here now because I know this is where I want it. And then I am going to get a little white ribbon, just a knot, or something just to put at the bottom here or at the top perhaps. I'll decide once I've stuck it down. And then just pop that in place, like so. Okay, then we're just going to get a little ribbon. Okay, so I have a little box of little ready-made bows that you can get. There's some basic grey, all sorts of different people do them. So I've picked out from that box this little aqua kind of gingham check, which I'm just going to pop down there with a glue dot, just to give it, you know, just a bit of extra something. So we'll just pop that down on there like so, and I think that just finishes it off on the inside nice. So that's that bit done. So now we go to the outside for both these cards, and what we're going to do is go to our my Cricut and cut out all the relevant components. Okay, so we're back from the Cricut, and these are the pieces that we've cut out, and as you can see I've already put together thank you so much, because you see there's 2 colours there. This was cut out in the pink, and then these extra letters, the brown, were cut out separately. So I've just used my Zig 2A pen and just glued those down, and the same with this one. This was cut out on the pattern, and then the aqua, which is still slightly damp, was stuck on separately afterwards, which I think looks really cute. Here is my little mannequin, and I've already cut the top off this one. It was cut completely the same as this one. Just pick it up, with the little top piece on and all of that, and then you put the two together. But what I want to do is if it's got fabric on the mannequin, so I'm also going to cut this little stem off as well. So I'll just get my craft knife and just nip that off. Oh, sorry, nip that off now. So just hold it down and then just gently. And then what we will do is we'll put the glue on the back of this piece. And then we'll just pick up my little, whoops, mannequin body and place one on top of the other. Now it's easier when you pick it up because you've got a few seconds movement and you can just squidge it into place, whereas if you try and do it when it's laying flat, I find it more difficult. Okay, so that's our little mannequin, and then we need to do our sewing machine. This one I did the reverse. You could have done it so this was your shadow, but because and this was my main image, but because my background was quite patterned, I decided to make my pattern paper the shadow and the main image the colour. Very delicately shadowed, you can just see it's a really small shadow. I think with the gypsy you probably could easily expand that by just making the background, the shadow piece bigger. But that is actually what they set it as proportionately. So personally I think it's a little bit small for my taste. I would have liked it just... Okay, so here's my card. Now as you can see, when we put these pieces on, because it's highly patterned with this patchwork, you're really losing the images on there. I think almost by camera they're slightly stronger than they are in life. You can see them easier. So you had several options here. You could ink the edges, so that would give it a bit of pop, because we are going to 3D it, so it's going to naturally come off the paper just a little bit. So if we show you, look, I mean, just by lifting it you naturally get a little bit of vision of the image, and if you inked those edges that would bring that up even more. You could put a mat down, various things, but I don't want to put a mat down because I don't want to hide this lovely patchwork paper, which I think is really appropriate. So what I've decided is, because I really quite like the inside, I'm going to change it around. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my card that I've made and I'm just going to fold it back on itself, and I'm going to make my inside the outside, and then when I open it, it still looks really nice down there, and you've got all of that card there. And you could have it that way if you wanted to, if that ribbon wasn't there like that, but I'm not. I'm going to leave it the way it is. So we've got that there, and then on the inside I've still got my patchwork. Now I could put a little mat in the centre using this colour just to give somebody somewhere to write, or they could write on this side, so they've got options. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to fold it this way, and I think then when you see is that when you put these images on, they pop up a little bit better. So I think we'll go for that layout, and we've got a little ribbon down the side as well. So let's get the pin flare glue. Okay, so I'm going to take one piece at a time and very carefully just put little 3D bobs of the pin flare to give it some height. And I'm just going to carefully put it on the back here. I don't want these pieces bending down. And just a tiny blob round here. And then pop that down. I'm just going to place that down here like so, very gently. That's that one done. And then lastly, the thank. And then we'll just again put our blobs on. And then I'm going to do exactly the same on my pink and brown card, and then I'll show you that when that's finished. And then place that, whoops, like so, and then again just get any excess of the gel glue. Okay, so that's that one done. now I'll go and do the pink and brown one, and I'll show you that one in a second as well. Okay, and here's card number 2 finished with my thank you so much. Again, just slightly raised on my 3D glue with that wonderful paper from My Mind's Eye Lost and Found collection. And then just on the inside we've stamped there the, again from that set of stamps, the sewing dummy and the sewing machine. I can't think what they call them, embroiderer's dummy I guess, I don't know. Anyway, that and that. Ooh, so that's our 2 cards. So basically from one sheet I cut on the Cricut, I got all of this to make 2 cards. So that was really cool. So I'm really pleased with these. I hope you liked them, and I hope you enjoyed the video as much as I enjoyed making it, and I can't wait to see you again soon. Thank you so much. Bye!